Greetings and welcome to another episode of Trippy Food and another installment of Viewer's Choice. Today we are doing a suggestion by John King. Now, those of you who know John King from our live streams know that John has a tendency to suggest things that actually people shouldn't eat. So some of the things are downright toxic or biohazards, and you usually have to say, no. So one time he came up with this great idea, and I think he thought it was too disgusting to actually make, but I thought it was a great idea, and I thought it would work really well. And so what he suggested was a Salisbury steak sandwich with roasted maggots on it. Now, the reason that, I know that some of you are probably saying, Val, that's not something that people eat. Why would you even do that? Why would you even consider that? Because people should consider eating maggots. People should consider eating insects, because this is how we're going to end world hunger. Seriously, insects per pound have more protein, less fat. They're actually nutritious, more so than beef and other meats, and it's easy to raise them, right? So I could have used mealworms, I could have used waxworms, but those aren't maggots. So mealworms are actually the larva of a beetle, and waxworms are the larva of a moth. So I needed to use real maggots, and maggots are fly larvae. So the question is, Val, where do you get fly larvae? It's not like I went out to the dumpster in the backyard and went hunting for maggots. It's not like I put a piece of meat out on the porch and waited till flies lay their eggs on it to get maggots. That's generally an unhealthy thing to do. So what I did was I went to the pet store, and it was Scales and Tails was the name of the pet store, and they sell these as food for reptiles. So the thing is, John specifically said roasted, so I'm going to roast these. These are actually alive. They're sleeping because you put them in the refrigerator, they sleep. So hopefully they will come out of their sleep in the warmth of the oven and won't be too much suffering. And I thought about that, and I thought, do I want to make these maggots suffer, as tiny and insecty as they are? Do I want to make them suffer? And the answer is no. But at the same time, then I consider that they actually sell these for animals to eat live. So it is what it is. So I do have the maggots. I have 200 fly larvae in here, cold fly larvae. Here, let's take a look. So they're in this package, and these are raised by the pet store, and they're fed grain. So we know they're good. We know it's not anything hazardous to eat. I think that they said they feed them bran. I'm not completely sure. So we have 200 of them in here, and we're going to roast these. Honestly, that's not a lot to top that sandwich with. I've got some wheat bread, some whole grain wheat bread. I'm going to toast that just so that it holds up to the Salisbury steak, because Salisbury steak's going to have gravy on it. It's going to be moist and everything. I don't want it to just be a soggy, ugly mess. Now, I couldn't make Salisbury steak from scratch. I'm not going to do that. We did a episode on Salisbury steak prior. I think we used Boston Market Salisbury steak, so we're trying a different one this time. So this time we're going to use Stouffer's Salisbury steak. It comes with some mac and cheese in it. We're not going to eat the mac and cheese. Our main focus is on our Salisbury steak sandwich with roasted maggots on it. For you, John. So there are microwave instructions. We don't have one. There are oven instructions. We do have one. And we're going to roast the maggots, which takes a couple of hours. So basically use a low heat, roast them for a couple of hours, just put them in a pan, put parchment paper down on the bottom of it. So we're gonna do that. This one just takes less than half an hour in the oven. So we're gonna roast our maggots first. It's gonna take about an hour and a half or so, and then we'll come back and we'll assemble our sandwich. So let's take a look at these. I'm gonna go ahead and put them in a bowl. Then I've gotta pick the maggots out and put them on a tray in the oven. And again, we're gonna use a low heat. It's gonna be about 70 degrees or so. Okay, so they hit this warm bowl and went crazy. Look at that. Can you see that? Maggots, John. Maggots. All right, so I want to get that started, and they're crawling up the bowl. So I gotta figure out how to get them not to crawl up the inside of the pan. But I'm gonna get that started, and we'll see you in a little bit. Well, alrighty, our maggots are done. So roasted them slow on low temperature. They're kind of dry, which is good. I was afraid that they were going to pop like popcorn. One of the things I did, which is off camera, is basically I just put them in a cup with boiling water, just really, really quick. I did that for two reasons. One, just in case there was anything contaminating them in there, I wanted to get that done. And I just kind of wanted to plump them up a little bit, get that started. Now it looks like they've got really dry in the oven, low and slow, but they are done. Here, let's put them in here. I put some salt, pepper, and a little bit of cayenne pepper on them before I put them in the oven. They have kind of a funky smell, and I don't know if that's the smell of the maggots or the smell of what I put on them and everything, but these are roasted maggots now. Here we go. Let's get all of them in here. There we go, roasted maggots. Okay. Yeah, they have kind of a funky smell. It's like it's hard to describe, almost kind of bacony, but not bacony, if that makes any sense whatsoever. It smells a little like, roasted skin or something. It's really hard to determine. But anyways, so here we go. Here's our roasted maggots. And now we just have to make our Salisbury steak. So this goes in the oven for 35 minutes. I'm gonna pop this in the oven. 35 minutes later, I'm gonna make my toast. 35 minutes, we'll put the Salisbury steak on the toast, top it with maggots, and enjoy a little feast. So bear with us again. Well, now if I remember correctly, the Boston Market Salisbury steak that we had, there were two decent sized pieces in there. You're gonna laugh at this one. Comfortable enough. They said to let it sit for a minute. It was exceptionally hot. Let's peel this back. And there's just one little, is it fair to call that a patty? There's one little Salisbury steak in there. Now again, I could have made Salisbury steak from scratch. It's ground sirloin. I think they put some other stuff in it too. That sauce looks like it has some mushrooms and stuff in it. So, but we're just gonna go as is. Now I thought it was gonna be big, and I was gonna have to cut it to the size of the bread, but it looks like it will fit neatly on that bread with plenty of room to spare. So let's go ahead and get this, put that on the bread, and put some sauce on there. I don't want to put too much sauce on it, only because I don't want the bread to get soggy, but it probably will anyway. Okay, there's the sauce. And now, let's put on our maggots, and we're gonna put them all on there. Why not? It's not like we're gonna use them for anything else. We're gonna have our spicy salt and pepper maggots. Now, these aren't as crispy as I thought they would be, but the thing is, they were starting to kind of wither away to nothing. So I thought if I left it in there longer, they might get crispy, but you might end with these little slivers of, what might be a maggot. So there we go. And that is our Salisbury steak sandwich with maggots on top of it. I'm gonna put this other slice of bread on top of it. Let's put that on there. Nice toasty bread. Voila! All right, let's take a bite of this. Hopefully it won't be too hot. Maggots are kind of crunchy. They're not as crispy as I would like. They do have kind of a meaty texture. Very earthy tasting. It takes the ground beef kind of in another direction. It almost makes it taste like wild game with those maggots on top of it. It's really good. It's maggoty. No, that's really good. You definitely get the texture from the maggots. You get that texture in your teeth. And again, it kind of adds like a wild, maybe slightly musky, slightly smoky flavor to it. Enhances the texture. There's nothing wrong with this sandwich. This is perfectly good sandwich. I mean, this is really, really good. Now, I said earlier about eating insects and it being a good means to kind of end hunger with people eating maggots. I don't know how practical it would be to make a maggot sandwich, like to not even have the Salisbury steak in there and just have it all maggots. I don't know how practical that would be. I think I have to kind of ground them up and really, I don't know, it's kind of iffy on what that would taste like. Now, for 200 of these, and you saw how small that was, for 200 of these was about, I think maybe 15 bucks, something like that. So if you're gonna make a substantial meal of just the maggots themselves, it'll be kind of expensive. Yeah, there's a chewiness to them. It's like after you get through the beef and the Salisbury steak, you still get the chewiness of the maggots, like the skins. Wow, that's really interesting. So John, I don't know if you did it as a challenge, thinking it was going to be disgusting. It's actually pretty good. So maybe you could try it. Maybe you could try making the same thing. Again, I didn't go with making my own Salisbury steak. I got a frozen one. This time we did Stouffer's. Last time we did Boston Market without the maggots. But this is really, really good. And John, it was a great suggestion, and thank you so much. For those who don't know John, please send him out some love. He needs it right now. And thank you once again for making the suggestion, John. So you had one that was a challenge and that we rose to and really, really liked. So thank you again. So get out and get the stuff and make this yourself. But remember that it's crazy out there, so please be careful. Take care of yourselves, take care of others, and we'll see you soon. Thanks for checking out Trippy Food. If you enjoyed watching that video half as much as I did making it, well then I enjoyed it twice as much as you did. And if that's the case, you'll probably like this video right here. And if not, check out this video right here. That one's a little bit different. Either way, leave a comment down below. And be sure to subscribe by clicking on the Trippy Food icon right here. Glad you could make it, and we hope to see you again soon.